Remember that story about Cindy You-Know-Who? When her Christmas was stolen, she knew what to do.
Why, Santa Claus? Why?
But what if I said that's not how it went down?
You gonna be okay? Because we can turn around right now.
No.
That poor girl. Her mother was killed. Her mind snapped.
Did you ever find the Christmas killer?
Never got a reliable description of the man.
Dad? Dad! He is out there! What if the Christmas killer is back?
This town cannot go through another Christmas killer thing. Not again.
Us folks down in Newville, we liked Christmas a lot. But that thing that lives just north of Newville does not.
What is it?
The mean one. He's slippery, he's elusive, he's a mean one, that mister.
I'm not gonna be a victim anymore. Time to roast this beast. You're a dead one, mister.
Hello and welcome back to the On the Slab Horror Show, the show that we bring to you each and every Friday night. As the King's t-shirt says, why Friday night?
Ooh, Friday night is horror night.
Absolutely. My t-shirt's in the wash, so...
Well, you've been wearing it
is
religiously for the last 6 weeks, so yeah, I would hope so.
I mean, I can wear it inside out and stuff, but sure. Enough jokes for tonight. This one is a big one. We're joined here, as you can see, it's not actually the Dynamo here with us. This lady's a bit better looking than the Dynamo.
A bit better looking?
I don't know, he's a handsome man, to be fair to him.
He is, but I think he'd even agree with me that he's more than a bit better looking than... Dynamo's one of our co-hosts, by the way. Krystle, just in case you were wondering.
This is Miss Krystle Martin, who you might have seen lined up as Cindy from the newest horror on the block, The Mean One, which is, what would you say, it's a horror parody of The Grinch?
It really has a little bit something for everyone, and I will let you say that word because I'm not allowed to say it.
Oh yeah.
But it is based on a classic tale about a green grump in a Santa suit, and it was marketed as a horror film, and it does have horror elements to it. It also has a lot of action, and there's a bit of a love story, and we've kind of been calling it like Hallmark horror. If that gives you a little. And lots of comedy moments as well.
That's not a bad way of lining it up, a Hallmark horror.
Yeah.
That could be a new. Could be a new genre, couldn't it? Actually?
Right.
I mean, when I seen Carl actually sent me the ads for it first, when the trailer dropped, and the first thing I turned around and said was, "I've been waiting for about 20 years to see Cindy Lou get absolutely tormented," because that character in the kids version, we won't mention names, absolutely annoyed the shit out of me.
Well, I hope you like my version better.
So seeing a reimagining of a children's tale obviously is quite big at the minute. I don't know whether you've seen in the States, there's an English version of Winnie the Pooh coming out.
Oh yeah, it comes up a lot in the articles that they've written about us. We're usually kind of tied together, and I kind of wondered if they love that or hate that.
I don't know. That would be all good. That kind of relation, you know.
Yeah, we had a great conversation with. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I think it's good for all indie movies. I think it's even if we're picking back on top of each other's success, I think it just makes room for more indie films to break out, and I think the horror genre is a really great place for that to happen.
Absolutely. And we've seen it, like I've said, we actually had a chat with one of the stars of the Winnie the Pooh movie, Natasha Ticini, and we said it to her, that's going to be instantly infamous.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter where people are going to like it or not, they're going to watch it to see it. And
people
I have a feeling that this is going to be the same.
Well, would you believe, Krystle, I was only telling my partner about this yesterday, this film. I was like, did you hear about the new horror that's out now called The Main One? And I'm like, it's about the Grinch, you know? And she's like, Carl, fuck off. What are you saying? Don't be lying. I said, I swear, because I always play tricks all the time on her. And I was like, yeah, we're actually going to be talking to the main actress tonight. And she's like, oh, you were serious? I was like, yeah. So
the G-Man comes up with all the guests.
I just thought that was funny. But before we go on, let me just bring you back to what you were saying about, the way you can't mention that name or that thing. So was it like that on set when you were recording, when you were filming, where you like, where you just purposely not mention that name, or was it just a fun running joke, or was it like a real serious thing, if you get me?
A bit of both. It was kind of a fun running joke. Everyone's like, shh, he should not be named. But we kind of also wanted to get in the habit pretty early on because we don't want to let it slip later on. And we wanted to honor that story and not detract from it, not steal from it. We just wanted to continue the story that everybody already knows and loves.
Yeah.
I mean, you brought up a very good point there of indie horrors coming into the market. So like, I know this is down as an indie horror, but what was it like to work with arguably the hottest prospect in indie horror at the minute, obviously David Howard Thornton?
He's great on set. I mean, he's super talented. It's amazing to watch him work. He'll just kind of be off in his own little corner, like he put on the makeup for the first time and he's in the mirror, like kind of seeing what kind of facial expressions he can make. And I think he was really working on how he can differentiate, since everyone knows Art the Clown, like how he makes this different and really brings his own flavor and twist to the mean one.
Yeah.
Beyond that, like, he was a very generous scene partner. Like, we have I don't want to give any spoilers away, but like there are moments where we really needed to connect as two performers together, and it's amazing with all of that makeup and prosthetics and costume and everything, and he dissolves into that character, but you can still see the expressivity in his eyes, the expressiveness in his eyes, and I was really able to connect with that, and it was a wonderful experience. And he's just a really nice, great guy too, and he's actually been helping me a lot. Since the movie has come out, I've had a lot of people asking for autographs, and he does a lot of cons all over the US, and goes and signs autographs and takes photos and everything. So he's kind of been coaching me through that because that's a new territory for me.
So is he teaching you how to do your own autograph, is he?
You guys, I've never thought of this before, but you have to come up with like an autograph that's not your autograph, which is like, duh. I mean, I have had autograph requests before, but not thinking about like going to a Comic-Con of some sort and doing lots of them. So things you have to think about, that you want one that you don't have to use your wrist a lot because it's going to get tiring. And you don't, of course, want to use what you use on your bank statements. Bad for everyone to have.
That may or may not lead to fraud of some kind.
It feels like the most egotistical thing ever, but you sit down and you have to practice what you want your public signature to be.
You're a little 10-year-old girl all over again.
Yeah.
When I was a 10-year-old little girl, I used to do my autograph when I was a 10-year-old little girl as well. So,
I mean, like at this point in time, with all the cons and stuff going on, you probably can't learn from a better person.
Oh yes, he's amazing, and he's like, that's like a full-time job for him. I think he's booked through all next year.
Yeah.
We're hoping he makes it back to For the Love of Horror, the HorrorCon in Manchester that we're heading to next year.
Hopefully.
That'd be amazing.
Hopefully you're at it.
That'd
be great as well.
That'd be fun.
I
I
have
would love
seen
to team up with David and do cons together. It'd be great.
I have, obviously, I said to you beforehand, it's we haven't got it released over here, so we can't go into too much in it.
No, I really look forward to that. I have a lot of friends in the UK that want to see it as well. It's going to be streaming sometime next year, everywhere. So
yeah,
we look forward to that.
I did reach out looking for a presser, but I don't believe you for the screener things.
Screener of your copy.
Yeah, I don't believe we're going to get one.
No, I can't imagine we will.
But so obviously we obviously can't go into too much into the story and whatnot. But what was it like for you on set?
You know, this is the ideal situation. I mean, with maybe more of a budget would be lovely. I'm sure we could all be happy for that. But in lieu of a huge budget production, all you want to do is work with passionate people. Like everybody on set was there to make the best film possible. Everyone's doing what they love. Everyone's working like 3 or 4 different jobs, what would normally be that many jobs on set, just to make it happen. And you know, going long hours, and we would check with everybody, like, we just need this one last shot, like, is everybody good, does anybody need to go? And everybody always stuck it out until the end, because it's a group of passionate, hardworking people that just want to bring this story to life.
And what a unique story to bring as well, actually. And another, sorry, Greg, I just wanted to ask you one quick question, Krystle, if you don't mind, and hopefully you can answer this. I've been looking at a lot of American reviews of the film recently, and you know, it's mainly positive, very positive, which is good. It's really good to hear, you know. But I don't go on reviews myself, but I just, like, if I'm doing the dishes, I want to listen to something or whatever, you know. So the one thing they keep bringing up is that there's a lot of CG blood in the thing. Would it have not been better to use, like, you know, fake blood? Or, well, how did that pan out, if you get me, if you can talk about that, like?
That's a little outside of my jurisdiction. I was just a performer on it. I think that, you know, I've seen both sides of reviews. Some people really hate it, and some people are like, well, it kind of goes with what they were going for. Me not being a big horror person myself, like, I'm such a baby, this makes it more accessible to me, because it is slightly less realistic, but you still get the idea.
Okay.
I appreciated that, because now I can watch that film and have a good time. But I know that there are hardcore horror fans that, you know, wouldn't love the CGI, and I think it really kind of just comes down to budget.
I hope you
realistic choice. I haven't actually asked our team that question.
And I hope you don't mind me asking that question. It was just something that came into my head there, and it wasn't a case of like, oh, why didn't you use this or that? Like, it's just like, it's an interesting thing that I kept hearing coming up, you know. But like, that's not the kind of thing that would deter me from watching a film anyway. You know.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that.
I mean, I've watched it.
Voice, honestly.
Yeah.
To kind of go with the spoofiness of it. It also could have come down to budget. I don't really know.
Yeah. That's.
I mean, I've watched a lot of B-rated horrors, so CGI blood doesn't really bother me.
No.
Oh, good.
Like, you just take it. You take, like, the horror film that it is, and the story that it is, and you just kind of go with it.
Yeah.
Like, this one, the main one, obviously, is a very fictional. It's a monster of some kind. Where you take, say, obviously we'll go back to indie horror. You say you take Terrifier. I know you said you hadn't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Where
I haven't. Sorry, David.
I
would love to go out to support my new friend David, but no, I'm such a wimp. I would definitely be one of the ones that you've heard of people like passing out in the aisles or throwing up in the aisles. That's why I can't go.
I've just thrown you under the bus there. But when you go to that story could generally be just any guy dressed up in a clown suit, so it could be more realistic, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So the effects could be different. Like, I understand the spoofiness is great, and you see it in the likes of Jack Frost 2 and stuff, where it's all CGI blood. It's great, and it brings in, you leave your mind at the door and you watch the movie, you enjoy it, and you walk out. Great.
Right.
But there's certain horror movies you can go back and rewatch because they're fun, and this entirely looks like one of those movies.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of audience members write to us and be like, I can totally see this as like my new Christmas tradition. And that means so much to us. Like, that's what we're going for. We want cult favorite film, you know?
Cult favorites work.
Best possible scenario.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cult favorites absolutely work.
Do you know, Krystle, I think
cult favorite, it's great.
I think you'll find, though, a lot of European horror fans wouldn't be as, you know, nitpicky as American horror fans, really. You know, like, I mean, what I mean is we'd appreciate the whole package, if you get me, rather than like, oh, this or this, like, and that's why, like, we're me and Greg are dying to see this film. You know, we just be talking about it all the time, kind of thing, you know. So it's gonna be great to see it when it finally comes out, like, you know. Sorry, Greg, I'm in my serious mode here. But
and then he remembers he's a Raiders fan, and he's no longer in the serious mode.
Stop it. Krystle, bring it back a little bit, because we got very ahead of ourselves there. When did you start acting? And give us a little bit of history on how you started acting, and then bring us.
I actually just sent a message to my 7th grade drama teacher because I had to be like, just so you know, I'm in a movie in theaters, and it all started with your class. And then same
you
thing.
have to start somewhere.
Yeah, my high school drama teacher has seen it twice now, and I think he's bringing more people next week.
Brilliant.
So I was actually terrified to find out that I was accidentally put into an acting class in the 7th grade. I think I wanted something really geeky, like study hall or something. I ran to the school office and I was like, no, I'm not supposed to be in this class. I don't want to be in this class. I was like would read all the time, and I was kind of shy, and they're like, okay, well, you have to go to the first day and then we'll figure it out later. And I was like, so I went and I sat in the back of the class, and the teacher goes through, they're doing some sort of like acting exercise where you pull something out of a hat and it gives you a scene and you have to walk through it by yourself in front of all of these people. And I was so terrified. And I waited until the very end and I didn't want to go. And then of course she's like, well, is everyone gone? And the entire room turns back and like points at me. And I'm like, oh, no. And so I had to get up, and it was actually kind of a horror one. I've never really thought about that before, but the card read, you're in a scary attic and you eventually see something, like you're afraid at first, and then you see something that lets you know that everything's going to be okay. And I just it was like the entire room disappeared, and I was in this really creepy attic, and I was tiptoeing around, and there's like cobwebs in the side of the ceiling, and I see this old box, and I pick it up, and then I jump because a Jack in the Box pops out of it, and it's even scarier. And then I don't know, I like looked at it and I was like, well, it's not that scary. Kind of sound like Terrifier. See, that's why I should watch it. And then I like kind of looked around and I started thinking like, wow, there's probably so much cool stuff in here. Like, I wonder what else I could find. And then all of a sudden I was just, everyone was clapping and it was over. And I was like, oh, acting's not so bad.
I could do this.
I remember that I had this epiphany that like, well, I love books so much, and I love like getting lost in the books that I read, and now I get to become the character in life and not just in my head in a book. And that was such a pivotal moment for me because I never would have signed up for that class. So I have to hand it to fate for that. I'm sure I was absolutely awful, by the way, in 7th grade. I think I have a really terrible video that my mom took of my performance.
I'm sure your teacher would disagree with that.
But that's what sparked it, and then I stuck with it through high school, and then that was when I decided I would pursue it in college and went from there.
Awesome.
I mean, you said you like getting lost in a book, and like the way books can make people feel. Now you're doing that for people that love movies.
Yeah.
So it's all kind of come full circle.
What I really love about acting and entertainment in general, whether it's books or live performance or TV and film, it's kind of a practicing of empathy, and I think it's really important for humanity to get to do that on a regular basis. Like we get to relax and turn on something on the television, but what we're really doing is stepping into someone else's shoes, and I think that's hugely important for us to move forward.
Absolutely. Another thing I saw that you did, well, I don't know if you still do it, is the Avengers thing. Is that you? Yeah, you Captain Marvel.
I
Widow, is it?
In a live show as a stunt performer, and that is all I can say.
Yeah, that's
and
okay.
I toured with a live show a while back called Avengers Assemble. I can share that one. And I toured for 3 years with Marvel Universe Live.
Oh, how was that? Was that good? Yeah.
Yeah, and for that one I played Captain Marvel, and I toured for 3 years. We actually went to the UK. We did a 16-city European tour.
Did you play Dublin?
That would yes, I was in Dublin.
There you go.
I know a few people that were at the show.
Did you get to spend any time in Dublin outside of the actual performance?
Yeah, the performers were really lucky because it took time to set up the stage each time we got to a new city. So we were in a new city every week, but then our court crew that was super hardworking would set up our entire stage, and the actors would get a few days off to go see the city.
Nice.
So I did. I was in Dublin and yeah, all around the UK. It was super fun to get paid to go travel.
To sightsee.
Yeah.
That's class. So the producer is Stephen Lamart. Is it Stephen Lamarte?
Yeah, Stephen Lamorte.
Yeah. And how did you meet? Did you just like hear from him from your agent, or
No,
do you know
I
someone?
had worked with Stephen before. We did a short film based on the Powerpuff Girls, and it was called the Powerpuff Girls: The Long Way Back, and I think it's still on YouTube if you want to see me as Bubbles.
Yeah.
But that's how I originally met him, and that was like 4 or 5 years ago. And then he called me up last year around Christmas time with this crazy idea that he really wanted to make a Powerpuff or a short film, a short trailer for the mean one. We weren't even calling it that at that point. It was just kind of this idea he had, and he got me to do that. We filmed that in like 4 days, and that was just like this fun little project. But after we had this trailer, which he then cut in like the next week to have it out in time for Christmas, and so many people went crazy over it. They loved it. It's actually, you can't find it anymore because then we went and made a movie. But it was really cool. Like all of everything, all of the ideas he'd ever had for this, like crammed into one little like 4-minute trailer, well, like long trailer. But it was really cool to see how many people were excited about it, and were asking like, well, when does the movie come out? And he was like, well, that's it. That was the whole idea. We just wanted the trailer, thought that would be fun, and then people wouldn't let it go. They really wanted to see the movie, so he got to working with the same team of writers that we had worked with on other things. Who Flip Kobler is our writer on this. He had written the Powerpuff Girls, so I got to work with him again, which was awesome.
Cool.
And he actually brought his son to co-write the mean one on, so that was really cool that they got to work together. And Flip Kobler also plays my dad in the film.
Oh, very cool. So it's a really big, it's a good kind of together cast and friends.
It was like a family affair for sure. Like it was like being at summer camp some of the days that we were filming, you know, because we would see each other every single day for like 2 weeks straight. And we're staying up late, and then we might as well just sleep there. In fact, I think we were filming at a cabin some of the days, and some people did sleep there.
Makes sense.
I mean, how do you go from writing the Powerpuff Girls to this?
I think Steven's really great at just taking stories that he loves and identifies with and puts his own spin on them.
Yeah.
I couldn't actually fathom, because I'm not very good at creative writing or things. Never was. I just couldn't picture how someone can sit and write a script for a movie. Like I could have great ideas, I just couldn't put them down on paper. So people that can do that are absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
I'm always amazed because I wouldn't even really try to do it myself. It's not something, I'm so glad that there are people that is their thing, because I agree, it doesn't really work for me either. But man, as a performer, you know when you get a bad script and you know when you get a good script, and this was one of the good ones. Like this character was a dream come true. Like I have such a great story arc. It's really fun to get to play.
And you see that from the few minutes in the ad. Obviously it breaks down that your mother was obviously killed. And it's kind of like a revenge redemption story, really, isn't it?
Definitely, yeah.
But like you obviously get the story, you can get the gist of the story quite quickly from there, and then obviously stuff goes from 0 to 200. I'd imagine rather quickly.
Yeah. I've heard from audience members that they love the part in the movie where it kind of switches over to go mode, and I will tell you that my favorite part of the film, I don't think it ruins anything, but there is a training montage.
Oh,
and
cool.
It's my favorite part to film, and it's my favorite part to watch. I think I really checked off a career box there. That was something I've always wanted to do.
Even montage.
Yeah, even Rocky had a montage. Huh?
Yeah, and that's everybody watches that and they're like, oh man, I want to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Like I'd say it's just phenomenal, and as I said to you earlier, the same as the likes of Winnie the Pooh, this is going to become infamous. But people will watch it, and there's going to be no doubt in my mind in that. But for this to get into the cinema and then obviously be extended again, it must be doing something right. Obviously, I mentioned Terrifier earlier had done the same thing weeks previous. For indie horrors, it's great to see now.
Yeah.
None of this straight to DVD buying in a $1 basket at Walmart or in €2 shops here and stuff. To see indie films actually kicking on and making money for people,
Yeah.
so they keep making them and they don't have to keep going and being cheap, is great to see.
Yeah, that's you know, it's nobody expected it to do what it has done. I mean, it's gone beyond any of our dreams being in theaters, and I hope that really kind of paves the way for more indie films to get to do that, because I think we need more voices out there and not just the ones that have a ton of money.
Yeah, or the ones we're told to watch or listen to. So yeah,
Right.
it's great for I think for the people who like to look at, you know, different things outside the box, to be able to see them on a bigger screen. You know, it is. It's fantastic. Like, it really is. So.
But even for the likes of yourself now, you're gonna have a name running around the likes of Hollywood. Oh well, Krystle was in this movie, so let's try and put her into a movie that has, say, a bigger budget. Say you go from that to I don't know, whatever new horror movies coming out. Like, you mightn't necessarily go from main role to main role, but you can work your way into names of people's minds.
That would be awesome.
Everyone has to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if you look at even, say, the likes of what's Rachel's name? Jennifer Aniston. She started in what was an indie movie in Leprechaun.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Kevin Bacon started an indie movie that was Friday the 13th and things like that. So everyone has to start somewhere.
Yeah, and I think
look at
horror
where they
movies
went
are a
to.
great way to work your way in to
Well,
a bit more mainstream.
even Leonardo DiCaprio, he's an Oscar winner, and he was in Critters 3.
I stand on the shoulders of giants.
Yes, it's a great launch pad, isn't it?
I see. It seems to be horror is where everyone wants to go first. It's all well and good going in being a comedy actor, but to actually play a character when you're actually scared or terrified and trying to fight for your life and things would probably be a lot more difficult. You can always gain comedic timing, but being able to portray fear is probably a lot harder.
Yeah,
I'd say.
I would say though, Krystle, that you won't just pigeonhole yourself into horror. Am I correct in that?
Yeah. Well, so I'm actually also a stunt performer.
Awesome.
So I really enjoy this, being able to bring both my stunts and my acting together. I think this was really special for me because I started in acting, like I said, in middle school, high school, college, and then when I went out into the industry for the first time, it was with acting. But then I met a bunch of stunt people who were super cool, and they started training with them, and then I did the live shows, and that took me more into the stunt world. And it had gotten to a point where I'm very blessed that I was making a living doing stunts, and that was awesome. But I was also had this little voice in the back of my head that's like, but you're not really acting much anymore. And I was really missing that. So this was exactly what I kind of had on my vision board for this year, is I wanted more acting to come my way. And then this just took off, which has been a dream come true. And I think that will kind of, I'm hoping, will help steer my career a bit toward a middle ground between stunts and acting. But I do love the action stuff. That's really nice. I think if I got on something with a bigger budget, I would definitely bring in some of my other stunt friends and be like, hey, bring me a stunt double, even though I may not necessarily need it. It's always, it is nice to have. There's a reason that they are two separate jobs. And that's because even though I can do both, like, one, I want to give my friends work so that I'm not just hogging two jobs, you know?
Yeah.
But also, like, it's easier if it really takes kind of a different mindset when you're acting versus when you're doing stunts. So it's really good if it is separated. On a lower budget thing, we can make it work, but I think I'm excited for the day that I get to call some of my fellow stunt women that look like me and be like, hey, I got a job. Come be my double.
Awesome. I mean,
that would be
you could line up to be the next Jackie Chan-esque person who became famous for doing both.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah.
Have you got any have you had any really bad injuries doing stunts?
I've had a couple concussions. I've had some black eyes. One time I got popped in the mouth, and I have a permanent retainer.
Oh my goodness!
And that came off. That one was particularly annoying because I had to go to the dentist, and I really dislike the dentist. The Dentist is my horror movie. So
absolutely.
But luckily, I have not broken anything. I should find some wood to knock on.
That was my next question. So how many bones have you broken?
Thankfully, nothing yet. Maybe not yet. We won't even say the yet. Nothing. I've never broken anything.
that must be you must be a hell of a stunt woman to be able to not have said not broken a bone from a finger to a toe to a leg or a rib or something.
Okay.
So, have you any other projects that you don't have to tell us, obviously, but do you have anything else lined up that you're going to be on or doing?
I have several projects that I'm not allowed to talk about yet, but the one I can is I stunt coordinated a feature film with my boyfriend Brandon Elmore, who's also a stuntman, and that should be coming out in the festival circuit next year. It's called The Misadventures of Vincent Hick, and I think it's really going to be special. It's shot all in black and white, and the core team is great with comedy, and also they did their own stunts. It was also a low budget film like this one, but they were game for anything we threw at them, and they were very good athletically, and I think we got some really special stuff. I'm excited for everyone to see that. You can find them on Instagram, Vincent Hick Movie on Instagram.
Maybe
if you send it to us, we'll throw it out there as well for you.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe when it starts coming out on the circuits, if you and your boyfriend have time, if you want to come on and have a chat with us again about that.
I'd love to.
It'd be great to chat about that. I know maybe it's not horror, but that doesn't matter because you're a horror girl now anyway, so you're part of the gang.
I like that.
Once you're in. There's no getting out.
That's it. I think we will let you go for now.
We won't hold you too long.
It's been absolutely brilliant having a chat with you, and some cool little stories there and some little nuggets and all. And all we can say is that we really, really hope this does well for you and that your career does absolutely skyrocket up to the
thank you guys
everywhere.
So much. The movie is in theaters this next coming weekend. We've been extended, so please go see it. Leave good reviews. If you liked it, then please review on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes, and if you didn't like it, then the name is Avatar: Way of Water. So
she gets it. She knows what the fuck is up.
Awesome.
And, thank you guys so much, and I look forward to when it's streaming in the UK so you guys can see it.
And we'll tell you exactly what we think of it. We'll review it anyway. We always review films that we have an interest in. So, but happy holidays to you and your partner. And
happy holidays.
Yeah, and have a great 2023 and all that kind of stuff. Okay.
Can't wait to see the name up in even more lights.
Exactly. But for now, Greg, take us home.
I mean, you done it 2 weeks. You done it last week, so I'll do it this week, as only I can. This has been your Friday night, ladies and gentlemen, and in the words of the great George A. Romero and myself, as Carl politely put it last week, stay scared.
Woo! Here we go.